the Detroit thing, we discussed that, what I felt about that. I thought we competed and played hard, but we have too many, self-induced mistakes that, we've got to clean up. And I think, Kobe coming back was great. I thought he played within himself. I thought he played really, really well. When it got to overtime, I did not talk to the medical. I took him out, and because I knew we were right under or right around 25, maybe a little less than that, or maybe right on top of that. And I went and spoke to the medical guy, and he's like, listen, I would feel more comfortable if some time passed off the clock and you brought him back in late in the overtime. And that's what we did. And then...
Now, was Kobe petitioning to get back in?
I think Kobe was telling him he was fine. I think they had a conversation probably when I went over to ask him where he's at on this with the overtime. He told me basically you could not start him and then come in. And then the second one, I think, Kobe must have had a conversation, and I think the way he was feeling, what was going on was fine. So I in those situations, I try to manage the minutes going into the game that, was right around 24 minutes. I'm not going to be perfect all the time and land it on 24, right. But somewhere within 23 to 25, you want to keep it there. But once that got to that number, to me, I'm just relying on Kobe and the medical and what kind of feedback I'm getting from them.
It's clear how much he's going to help you. I mean, he looked like he hadn't missed basketball for 2 months. I mean, he was not only making shots, but he was creating shots, and his playmaking was on point. 14 trips to the line. I know in the context of a tough loss, it's hard to spin it forward positively, but I mean, can you see where this can go with him back in the line?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that he could have the success he could have after being out. And I said, I think before the game, he's done a remarkable job, like as much as he can with the lower leg, keeping himself in shape. And I mean, he's in pretty good shape. I wasn't really worried about the shape. I was just more worried about, okay, we got to keep him in these kind of 6-minute windows, and they didn't want him to go past that. But I thought with the 6 minutes that he played, he looked totally fine to me. We'll see how he feels tomorrow. But yeah, I was happy for him. Kobe's a great guy, works really hard. I know he was chomping at the bit to get back for a long time, but this has been a difficult end of summer for him, and obviously to start a training camp. And clearly with him coming back, I think that he'll be able to build that chemistry with those guys because Kobe's very easy to play with.
Billy, you mentioned self-induced mistakes. What do you think of when you say it?
Excuse me?
When you say self-induced mistakes,
yep.
What comes to mind?
Well, I think, Case was talking about, when we're supposed to switch, we don't switch correctly. Blockouts, balls are bouncing around and we're not necessarily blocking out, or shot goes up and we're leaking out because we're contesting a shot and we continue running on and we got to get back in and help rebound. Careless turnovers. Listen, we're not going to play perfect. I'm not saying that, but just the execution of, even the game plan discipline and what we're doing. There's sometimes we're really, really good, did a good job, but, we got to be better on the detail stuff, and I think that, coming out of the Detroit game, a lot of it was, the way we kind of just competed in the game needed to be at a higher level. I thought we did that tonight. But in this league, you got to do two things. You got to play really, really hard, and then you got to really, I don't want to say be flawless, but you got to execute. You got to execute, coverages. You got to execute screening actions, spacing on plays, all those things. And I thought there was opportunities that we had some advantages. Like there was a couple plays late where, I really thought we could have sprayed the ball a little bit more. And this group's been really, really unselfish. They had 38 assists tonight, and but like I've said before, where we're at on the margins, we got to be really, really good in those areas. I'm not saying we got to be perfect, but we really got to be good, in those areas. And I thought we had, some breakdowns that, again, really hurt us.
And it feels like you even said it after Detroit, like that was the one game maybe out of the whole season where you guys didn't really put yourselves in position to win throughout.
Right.
Does it just feel like you're losing at the margins right now? Is that how you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, we played, I thought, a really good first half. And, we kind of come out in the second half, and then, like midway through the third quarter, we're not great, and an 11-point lead goes down to like 4. We're up by 4, I think, to start the fourth, and then we just have these moments, and we're going to have them, but like our margin for error right now as we start to try to get healthy and get whole, we don't have a lot, so we got to really be good. And like I said, not perfect, but we just got to be much better. And, I can point to a lot of different plays, and I'm sure, Utah's probably coaching staff could say the same thing about their group too, right? So this early part of the season, for us to get over the hump in some of these games like you're talking about, we gotta do a better job on the execution piece of it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, guys. Thank you. Yep, thank you.